Yo, 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 yo. How's it going? Am I live? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello, people. Hello, Dangarinos. How you doing? It's a lovely day in Space Canada here, and we actually we had snow yesterday for like an hour, which is just so Canadian. But then today the sun is shining, the clouds are fluffing up the lower atmosphere, and all those harmful gamma rays are kept at bay by the ionosphere and all that kind of jazz. Anyway, how are you guys doing? I don't know. Hopefully you can all hear me. Just poke in the chat if you can. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but let's see who's here. We got Tokoso, which you heard the Tokoso music on the intro. We're going to be doing a little bit of a Creators Roundtable today. So we've got Exigeous, we've got Paroxysm, we've got Yamix, and we're going to be talking about Elite Dangus while I'll be, doing some dangy things here, But yeah, who else we got here? We got Ray Mobula, we got Deadstar Omega, we got Dark Heavy 8, we got Fresh Baklava, we got Zethriel, who's digging the Takoso, and Loot. How you doing, Loot? And Logic Block, how you doing? Yeah, Deranged Gordon Freeman in the house. I do love the look of this suit, though. It is a pretty cool, groovy suit. Although, let's do some customization because I want to show you how stupid and crazy this is before we start. We're gonna start in like 5 minutes. Get Yamix, Xe, and Proxy on the line, and we're gonna have a little bit of Dangus discussions. What's up, Commander Vex? How you doing? Now this is my beef with Odyssey, and I don't know if this is different for me, but I got all these different loadouts here. And let's say I want to customize my little dominatrix suit here. And I go to Suit Cosmetics, and I go in here. What's up, Eric Hendrickson? How you doing? ZO. Like, which I love the fact that there's this stupid hat with the stupid faceplate. It's lovely. But let's say I want to change this torso to something. Like, these are the options it gives me, right? Like that's not a torso. That's a shoulder pad. And you have to go in there and go, oh, okay, that's what it looks like. I don't know if the UI has been doing this for you guys as well, but this is driving me bananas. Other than that, I really do love Odyssey. But then, yeah, you can obviously customize everything. So I've created quite a little monstrosity of a Dominator suit there. I don't know who he's going to be dominating, but we do want to stick to our dumpster shrimp, though. Though I did want to actually... I don't know if I want to have the Executioner. Whatever, I'll keep it. It's no big deal. But yeah, shortly we're going to get Exegius, Oxy, and... wait, no, I'm Spatula. That's me. Coming. Okay, I'm coming. Get ready for them because you're gonna hear an explosion. It's been a time. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that...
That's about Elite Dangerous and sometimes a few other tech gadgets. So go check out this chat.
Yeah,
if you have
that's what I try to do for sure. Yeah, are we introducing ourselves? I think that was pretty good there, Yamix. I can be found at. Just the last thing I'll say is I can be found at YouTube/CMDR Exegius. Yeah, it's possible to spell, but you'll get it. The Googles will figure it out for you.
You can be found by just simply typing in Exegius, you know.
That's true. That's true. You can also just Google Exegius. When I picked the name because of that. I'd never seen another one, that spelling of it before. So. So yeah, good to be here. Thanks for putting this together, Yamix.
I tried.
And then there's me. I am Commander Paroxysm. Used to do YouTube videos, mostly just stream now. And YouTube doesn't like to cooperate with me when I do stream, so mostly I do this on Twitch now. So you guys can find me at twitch.tv/CMDR_Paroxysm, which is Paroxsym. Don't let it auto-correct it to YSM like Google always does. You'll never find me.
Damn you, Google.
Yeah, and just quickly, I'm gonna interject because my chat's a little confused about the poll I put up because it's very, very simple. Just Odyssey, yes or no. And what I mean by that, guys, we'll get into obviously issues around it, but I just wanted to make a very simple, like,
first we need to
I know. I just wanted to jump that in because my chat was really confused. So now, Spatula, take it away, buddy.
Who, me? Oh no, yeah, I'm here. Hello, the Space Canadian detective here, broadcasting from the YouTubes. And I would say Google Elite Dangus, but then it'll be like, did you mean Elite Dangerous? And completely cut me out because YouTube doesn't understand the importance of the Dangus. But that's fine because YouTube will learn. YouTube will pay. And yes, it's been a while, as Yamix mentioned, since there's been a Creators Roundtable. This is the first one that we're doing, really, since Odyssey's launched and been patched a little bit. So I'm looking forward to the future discussion and our different Dangoid opinions.
Fair enough. So, I suppose we could actually start with Xegius's question of Elite Dangerous, yes or no, and basically go from there, I suppose. So, yeah.
Pick a side.
I suppose let's go in a row there.
All right, we're gonna have to start going backwards at some point, right? We're gonna go backwards at some point, so that I'm not always the way. No, it's fine, hold on just a quick second. I've got a stream issue I've got to resolve real quick because that's not.
Well, then let's carry on. Paroxysm.
Go.
Elite Dangerous Odyssey.
Take somebody else.
No.
Tentative yes from me as far as Odyssey goes as a whole.
All right, tentative. All right, fair enough. Spatula.
Yes. Just that. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
All right. From yours truly, well, I already answered the question on my end, and that's no. And I'll get into detail probably later. But for now, soundbite there. So Xegius, yes or no?
Yeah, and so for me, I'm going to answer twice. I'm going to break my own little simple answer and break it twice. I'm going to answer it as an Elite fan and not an Elite fan. An Elite fan, yes. I think it's yes. For me, as an Elite fan, it's yes. As a new person to the game, hard no. Right? Again, just Odyssey, right? I'll talk more about the whole package, everything later. But yeah, I have to say, if you're new to the game and not playing it yet, certainly not yet. Again, if you're only talking about Odyssey gameplay, but for an Elite fan, you've got 1,000 hours. Yes, absolutely. So,
right.
Should we go from there?
Well, yeah. Basically, then furthering that question, let's go with Spatula this time. Going backwards, or maybe
Objection.
Not let me rant. So, Spatula and the rest of you guys, why yes?
Why yes? Well, okay. I think you have to look at this from the perspective that so I guess what Xe said there was interesting. There is like dividing it into like Elite fans versus like new players. And I would argue that even if a new player picked up Elite Dangerous before Odyssey or before Horizons, it's still a pretty deep game to get into. It's a pretty hard game to get into if you're not like a fan of like this type of space sim, space trucker sort of game, right? So does Odyssey really change that? I think it just adds a layer of complexity, but it was already a pretty complex game to begin with. Like if you were going to get into Elite Dangerous, you'll get into Odyssey altogether fine. Now look at Odyssey, and yeah, it's bugged. Yeah, there's some design decisions that I question. Yeah, there's some things that I don't like. But overall, when you look back to the original promise that Space Legs would eventually come into the game, just think back a year. And we didn't know that Space Legs were even being worked on. And now they're here. And yes, they may be a little buggy, but so was Horizons at first. So was Elite at first, right? It will continue to evolve. And at least have faith that, they're going to continue iterating. They're going to keep going with it. What we have so far may be the MVP, but it's a pretty good MVP, right? It's given me
MVP
most of what I
MVP
want.
for me.
Minimum viable product, right?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Right?
Follow you.
It's not most valuable piece of crap.
Yeah,
but-
I got you. I got you.
But my point is that, it's like they've put it out, they've given us the space legs, they've given us the first taste of the new direction, of the next level that we're going to. And I think it's pretty good, right? I think it's at least headed in the right direction. And that's all I needed from this release. I had set my expectations very low, considering, how Horizons and specifically Beyond went. And I think given, comparing this to, say, the launch of Fleet Carriers, there's a lot more to dive into. There's a lot more appeal for different types of player styles than there was from any other previous release since Horizons. So that's why I say yes. It is still a conditional yes. There is still work to be done. We've only just started this journey, but I think we're going the right way.
All right then, Peroxim. Why tentative? Yes.
Because there's a lot that needs to be improved on before I'm going to give it a solid yes. I see the potential in everything that Frontier has done, but there's a lot of... I want to say, as usual, the execution doesn't necessarily live up to what I was hoping for. Which, that tends to be kind of common with Frontier. Their initial release for things is not all that great. But then usually over time, they fix a lot of the minor issues and things like that bug the ever-living crap out of me. So, I'm going to give it a tentative yes because there is great potential here, but it very much depends on a lot of the issues with Odyssey. Not just with bugs, but with, some quality of life things. Like, I'll bring up the engineering. Like, the engineering with all of the ground-based stuff feels like we took a step back to, 2017, when engineering was still shit back then. These days, it's very jarring going in between, the engineering we have for the ships and the way it works to, what we have in Odyssey. And then there's UI complaints, just a lot of things like that would make quality of life so much better. And that's kind of what, I want to see improve before I'll give it a solid yes.
All right, and then Exegius, answer your question. Double-edged thingy.
Can I go last this time, Gax? You want to go next? Do you mind?
Enough.
Okay.
No problem. So, to answer my own answer or rather expand on the answer as to why I would say no for Odyssey is, just like with any other, not content, but product, because this is a product, right? But it has basically been released not ready. It's broken, basically. You can see that constantly when you're trying to just play around. There are unfinished features, it feels like, or missing information, and so on and so forth. Basically, the level of quality of this particular release has been a massive disappointment just on the product's own merits, as any product would be, expected to be. And for me, examining further as to why it was pushed out the door, just sort of comes down to the fact that most likely, sure, this is generally speaking unproven clearly, but it's the best answer we can find, and that is to meet some sort of a corporate fiscal date rather than just, oops, we didn't know it wasn't, or it wasn't tested. My prevailing sort of theory is that it was pushed out knowingly unready, and frankly speaking, it's just on the product's own merits, as I said, not acceptable, and we should be asking proper, both accountability as well as the result of the product in of itself. Gameplay wise, it basically lacks anything particularly attracting for outside people, and for that is, those that haven't played Elite at all, right? Reaching for that new market with the FPS gameplay, it's far too simple and far too casual to be actually any sort of a interesting draw, and of course there are other issues. But for those that are inside, Elite Dangerous fans, well, basically you can look at the planets themselves, and you can literally just insert the meme of how they have massacred my boy. That thing, essentially, with the planets themselves, and that is also going into that whole thing about it wasn't ready properly to, be released, and it was pushed out with literally bare minimum effort. Again, we don't have canyons, we don't have any really interesting hills. There are noticeable patterns on the planets, basically making them rather bog standard and frankly lesser than what Horizons had. Yes, there are obviously the graphical improvements, but even those are questionable at times. So, yeah. And of course, well, when you're going deeper into features themselves, you start to wonder why. Why was this made? Like, for example, UI, in my opinion, but that'll be basically my sort of quick analysis. So there you go. That's why I give it a no. Exegius?
Yeah, so I think I don't disagree with anything that's been said at all, right? I think you guys have nailed a lot of great points. I think for me, when you think about evaluating something, right, you have to decide what's the yardstick by which you're measuring, right? Like, what is the objective way to measure it, right? And so when I look at Odyssey, I think there's two important things that very much affect my opinion of it. And the first one is the price. It's $40. Right? This is not a $10 or $20, we throw names like DLC and expansion, all that, whatever it is. This is not a $10 or $20 DLC expansion, whatever you want to call that, right? It's $40, right? This is AAA pricing territory. Okay, so I didn't play The Witcher 3. I know it is incredibly highly regarded. I know that the Blood and Wine expansion was incredibly highly regarded, incredibly highly reviewed, tons of content, okay? That was $20. All right. So when we measure it by that 40, now, and then also let me just very quickly make clear about the cost side of things, right? If I look at the fact that for me personally, I bought, the main game at full price, let's just say I did, $60 way back in the day. How much was the Horizons expansion? Was it 40?
Horizons was also $60 at launch.
It was 60, okay.
It was quickly discounted to 30.
How quickly? Like weeks or months?
I don't remember exactly.
Okay, fair enough. So let's just say full price. Let's just say full price, right? So that's 120, and with Odyssey, that's 160, right? The roughly 7,000 hours I have in my main account, oh my God, have I gotten my money's worth. So that's not really what this is about for me, okay? But it is about, so it's much more about what's in it, because a lot of Elite, a lot of our high play times is very replayable, right? So anyway, so I think when you measure it by that $40, that's number one. And number two, we all know this is beta, right? We all know this is absolutely unreleased or unready to be released. You're absolutely right, Yamix. You fucking nailed it. My opinion too is that it was because they had to rush something out because their financial year end was yesterday. Okay, so or maybe it's Monday. Anyway, they had to get it out for that reason, and so they named it Release. Right? This is not a beta. This is not an alpha that, by the way, we actually paid for, some people, right? This is release version software, of that. Right? Yeah. So this is a $40 company saying, pay us $40 for this. It is ready to go. It is done. Here you go. And I don't think anybody would argue that it is. And so for the other thing to be clear, I've said this a lot, I don't get tweaked by the bugs at all. Okay, to a degree, right? A minute ago, for some reason, I'm guessing it's because I'm streaming, because this has not been my experience, my frame rate was like 17 walking around a station. And normally I'm in the upper 30s at 4K Ultra on a 2080 Ti. I should be, the performance is terrible.
Yeah, you should be getting about the same
absolutely.
As I do, which is about 80.
Yep. Yeah, and you're playing at 4K or 2K?
No, 4K don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm at 4K, right? At 4K pixels anyway. So that's not that's not good, but it's at least playable and acceptable for me. So that's not been a problem. I've crashed a lot, right? All of that is unacceptable, but it's expected, sadly, in the world that we live in. It's just how it is. It is a massive code base. That doesn't bother. As long as it's getting resolved quickly, I think the first big patch was pretty quick, I gotta say. The patch notes, at least, were really extensive. I thought that was great. The performance stuff is the one that's going to take a while. Obviously, the longer that goes, the less acceptable it becomes, right? So when you measure by those two things, I can't say yes. I don't know how you objectively do say, yes, this is good. Yes, you should buy it. Yes, it's ready to go. But I'm having a shit ton of fun with it. That's the weird thing, right? And maybe that's why I started this with, if you're an Elite player, I feel like it's a yes, and if you're not, right now, it has to be a no for everything I just said. But It's been a long time since I was excited to sit down and just play Elite, and that's how I've been the last week. And so have a number of friends that I play with. So it's this weird dichotomy for me.
Well, all right then.
And I've got some other specifics that I think we can discuss
we'll
as we go. But
probably
I
get
don't want to
into
monopolize.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I've rambled.
Well, I did mark it that well, personally, I take an issue with the whole concept of I've spent X amount of hours in this game and it makes it worth it, because.
No, and that's not what I'm saying. But I hear
No,
you're right. You're right. But I hear the argument a lot about when you talk about price that, well, oh my God, well, how many hours have you gotten out of it? So I just want to acknowledge that. That's all I'm doing with that, Yemix, because you're right. Right? Time does not make for gameplay. But so again, that's why I just said that about cost, because some people do factor that in, right? There's not $40 worth of content in this for anybody, right? But the time issue isn't an issue for me, right? Because I'm going to get a lot of time out of it.
All right then. Well, I suppose we can carry on to a small little question then, just sort of continuing on, that I wrote down. So let's go with the biggest draw and the biggest shortcoming. Just for the fun of it, I suppose. It's, worth mentioning both the good and the bad. And yes, I know that for me that's extremely, uncharacteristic, even though maybe not so much. But regardless, hey. I have to sometimes, prove that I am.
Sure.
But on serious note, though,
you got to feign being unbiased, right?
yeah. Of course, I cause upset, and that's only. But anyways, all right, carry on then. Right. So, well, we can go backwards now again. So, Exigius, if you want to start, or you want to pass a baton to.
No.
No. Okay.
Go ahead.
The biggest draw. Let's start with the
biggest
positive.
Draw.
Biggest positive.
Biggest positive. Let me think about that for a second, since you put me right on the spot. Well, I mean, the biggest positive is, and this is very esoteric, and I guess you're asking a more specific question, is I'm excited to play again, right? Like I genuinely keep having fun with this. Biggest actual gameplay draw, the thing that surprised. Okay, so I think anybody that
causes you to enjoy it.
Yeah. Anybody that's known me for any length of time knows I've always been very anti-space legs, right? It's not what I've wanted ever. I've always been against it, right? Well, what I was stunned to find is what I really enjoy about it is the stealth gameplay. So I love stealth shooters. I've always loved shooters, right? I mean, I'm old school, literally started with Doom, right? So I've always loved shooters.
Shooter and Doom somehow doesn't just go together. But
no, the original shooter. No, the original Doom from, back in the 90s, right?
1996 or whatever.
I'm saying it's a shooter. Doom is a shooter, not a stealth shooter. Yeah, sorry. I wasn't trying to say Doom's a stealth shooter. It is not, right? Anyway, so I've always liked stealth shooters, and so I'm really loving the stealth aspect of it. Just about anything I do at a settlement, even if I don't have to be stealth, I do it stealth. I don't like taking the missions where you're either non-violent or can't be detected, because I like to be able to go hot. I've done things I'll go to take some sort of heist mission, and I'll get busted. I'll get under fire. I'll run back to my ship. I'm flying an Imperial Eagle a lot. Jump in the Eagle, just hover right above the base, blast the fuck out of everybody with missiles. And by the way, if you have not seen a Thargoid, a Guardian, or not a Guardian, but an AX flak launcher hit the ground, it is a nuclear fucking explosion. I'll later on in the stream, I'll try to set one up to show on my stream. If you guys haven't seen it, it is incredible how good it looks. And so I nuke everybody, I land, I get back out, I drive in, I get out, I walk in. I mean, just that whole experience, I gotta say, I wasn't expecting to really enjoy that and get it, and I really do. My biggest bomber, if we're just quickly about that, is no VR. Right, that does hurt this a lot, because Elite is.
There is technically a VR,
Well, and maybe we'll talk about that later. I won't touch on that right now, because yes, it's there. It's better than I expected, but it's also disappointing at the same time, right? So, and just last thing I'm going to say, just randomly quickly, because I actually haven't showed this on stream yet. I'm at quote unquote my station. So for those that don't know, Frontier was nice enough to let me name a station, and I just landed here. So.
Way to brag, buddy.
Well, as I started saying it, I realized, holy shit, that's the
Again,
douchiest thing I ever fucking said.
Well, they let me go back in time, and I named Earth. They let me go back in time and name Earth. So
Awesome,
I got
dude.
that, you know.
Awesome.
Got that going for
I
me.
thought you named that kit. I thought you named that cooking utensil they used to use a long time ago.
That too. That wasn't
Sorry.
Frontier though.
Bad-
That was
bad joke.
the kitchen company.
Ah, gotcha. And yeah, I don't know. My frame rate's like 18 all of a sudden on planets, and it was not this when I was streaming. It's a real bummer that it's this low right now. So anyway, so yeah, that's the thing that really I'm enjoying. I find it highly immersive, right? That they have really truly gone. They said millimeter. I think that's silly, but like meter to galactic, and I think I feel it, right? And I think they did a good job with that.
Well, all right then. So
Yeah.
not to give you too much time to speak, let's go with the
Yeah,
next
what do you got, Proxim?
positive.
Sorry.
Yeah, Proxim. Come on. What's your biggest draw?
Biggest draw for me, I'm gonna have to agree with Exy that the sense of scale here is one of the biggest things for me now. Because before, yeah, we could get out and drive around on planets, but the ships never felt. I mean, unless you were playing in VR, the ships never felt truly massive. Now, when you get out and you're on foot and you look at your damn ship and you realize that the engine bells and stuff are literally bigger than your head, and you can fit an entire person or three inside of the cutter's engines, like the scale is incredible. And for me, that it adds a whole new level to things that just wasn't there before. I feel more in touch in a way with Elite and its entire galaxy than I ever did before, and that's saying something, because I mean before, like, yeah, people were fairly immersed in a lot of ways, but this, I think, has kind of really brought it to a whole new level. And then you couple that with just some of the details that are in these new ground stations and things like that, and it's just, yeah, it's over the top. I love it. I really do.
Warning.
Oh,
Dangerously low temperature
Now,
detected.
Spatula. Your biggest draw?
Me? Oh, biggest draw.
Yes, you.
Well, I think it actually might be good to also divide that biggest draw into those two camps of, people that have been longtime Elite Dangerous people. For me, like, I was getting to the point where I wasn't really playing the game for fun anymore. I was, using it as a filmmaking tool. And in between shooting, I wasn't really actually, like, going out and doing missions or doing anything that was normal in that game. And now I am. And I feel like it's kind of reinvigorated my hope in the future of the game, the continuity of the game, that the development team will continue to make the game better and to improve it. And now there's a lot more new and exciting things to explore, to see a Thargoid site on foot, or to walk around in a city, or try and scale a building. All that's been really fun. So I think, like, for the returning players and the long-time players, it is just getting that next level of depth, that going from that kilometer to that meter scale, seeing everything with kind of new eyes, new atmospheres and whatnot, and then just sort of having a little faith restored that, like, okay, they gave us space legs. We're probably going to get ship interiors at some point. We're probably going to get those mineable gas giants. There was a point where maybe a year ago, I didn't believe that any of that would ever come out, or if it did, it would be horribly executed, right? And, say what you will about the launch on this. I may think it's more of a marketing issue, which I assume we'll get to later in the stream. But I think also for like just in terms of the greatest new feature, I think the on-foot mission types, like just the fact that there is a variety, right? And I don't think it's fully realized, but I like what Exy said about liking the stealth missions. I also really like the idea of, like, sneaking around and sort of playing that sort of stealth James Bond infiltrator unit, but that it could break out into combat, or you could take a combat mission, or go just turn on settlements, or explore abandoned settlements. Like, I think there's a lot of different types of, like, playstyle varieties baked into it. So it kind of makes it so that there's, different strokes for different folks, right? Like, there's a lot of different types of people that will be able to get enjoyment out of the new features. They didn't specialize only in combat or only in exploration. I may feel that certain areas, like exploration as an example, hasn't got as much attention, again, as maybe, say, the combat side of things and the settlement exploration. But going back to that first point is, and what I think the longtime players will be feeling is like, okay, like it's back. Galnet is making articles. Things are happening. The story can progress. There's no more like, yeah, we have 3 years and 100 people working on this thing. Like, it's out and we're live updating it. And things are finally ready to move forward. We're probably going to see new Thargoid things in maybe a month, maybe 6 months. Who knows? We're probably going to get new ships. I never watched the leak videos, but I've seen the titles of them. And so I think really for me the biggest win of this for the old players is having that sense and that hope of the next level and seeing the next level realize. And for the the new players, I think it's just like, again, coming into a world where really the whole tagline of the original Elite was blaze your own trail, and you truly really can now. You don't even have to have a spaceship. You can just taxi around. It's no big deal. Just tip your Uber driver. That's what I got.
Okay,
Personally,
I'm
I
trying
think
to not be sarcastic, but okay.
no, I think that's well said, Spat. I think there's a few things in there that maybe I would disagree with a little bit, but I think for the most part you're spot on.
Well, I'm glad. If we didn't have disagreement, then it's not going to be fun.
Well, no. But as we're talking about the positives, right? And I think it is important to what we're doing, to acknowledge those, right? We do complain a lot. Complain's the wrong word. We do give critical feedback a lot. I think that's very important. But giving praise when they get it right, I think is important. And I think they've,
Well, believe me, and I'm not praising everything. I think. And
no.
I assume
We'll get to that, Spatula. Trust me, I'm itching.
Yeah, Mitch, what do you got?
Right, so since I'm being literally at gunpoint forced by myself to be positive without being sarcastic or
Look,
negative,
if there's
right?
nothing positive, don't make it up.
there
You
is.
do you, Yemix. You do you.
Right. I'll mention a couple of things, but not just yet on the highest one before those, because good work needs to be recognized as well. So the new, well, at least as broken as it is, the new tutorial is something I wanted more before when they did the new tutorial for September update, right? I did say that I wanted basically more of that voiced stuff and sort of extremely hand-holdy thing, and we got more of that on Spacelags, which is a pure, just positive thing that I had on the first day. Literally, just
I agree. It was fantastic.
I should have said something about that, because that tutorial is top notch.
It really is, yeah.
No, it's not top notch, but it's something more.
It's very good. It's very good.
It gets the tutorial awards.
But okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Carry on then. Right. So, what for me as a creator is the biggest draw, right? Is the ability to basically use, the camera, camera visuals, as well as your guy essentially to film things. And now, because especially with the guy, when you have your Spacelags man out, you're able to actually go closer up to the ships and film the detail of it closer without that stupid, disgusting piece of shit collision box obscuring your view, or rather blocking your ability to go closer.
Triggering me,
unless it's a small ship. I know, right?
I'm so triggered.
Filmmaker PTSD.
I know. I've filmed all the ships. I know that Beluga is the most disgusting ship to film. Anyways, carrying on. Right. So basically, the camera is, on that sense, adding a little bit of extra stuff, or rather, not the camera, but the particular legs version of it. Adding that ability. However, overall, ability to film a bit more brighter, more colorful scenes due to, again, atmospheric lighting and whatnot else, whatever comes, through atmosphere, essentially, is a really nice addition, because normally if you wanted, a colorful scene, you couldn't really get it in the bubble. Oftentimes you would have a big black spot, essentially, for the sky, and, well, the ground would be, depending on the star, that. Now, with the, generally speaking, the whatever atmosphere there is, or how little there is, if you will, it makes the scenes more, viewable. Plus, of course, the added textures, blah blah blah, adds for a bit more closer and potentially more prettier filming when it's up close. So that is wonderful addition. However, not all is good, but that's generally speaking, that's an improvement regardless. So as a creator, I'm happy that I don't need to go to the center of the galaxy to get some bright and pretty looks or some nebula, if you will. So yeah, that's very nice and so on and so forth. So there you go. So that's my answer. I guess it's time to basically take a dump. Yeah, we can. Well, since I did talk about the thing again, I suppose Exigius, if you want to take the floor here on the biggest shortcoming, or you want to pass it up.
No, I think I can go first.
Right then.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I was going to interject with that since I went first after everybody talked around. I mean, I guess not. We hit the majors. One thing. One last positive I'll say is while it is not 2021, triple A title pretty. It's very pretty, right? I'm really happy with a lot of the way things look. Like, I think some of the new atmospheres are very pretty. The view I'm looking at right now is not one of the prettiest, but it's very pretty. I've seen some just incredible blood red skies, some purple and blue ones, right? And so I think pointing out, I don't think any of us mentioned that, right? UI problems with maps and stuff. I'm not talking about UI here, by the way. I'm talking about just simply graphics, right? I think the new explosions are great. I think there's a lot of pretty stuff there that we probably didn't mention and should.
Oh yeah, absolutely, because a lot of the new visuals are so much better
very nice.
than they were.
Yeah. But, I think you could argue that a lot of them, that maybe if we're going to start doing the Star Citizen compares, that Star Citizen is prettier in some ways, right? But not so dramatically. I mean, yeah, it's got much better environments on the planets, right? So I'm more talking about in space. Yeah, planetary textures and like the life form stuff, I think is actually pretty not great, but just space stuff, again, atmospheres, that new environments I think is great. We'll talk about planets, I'm sure, in a little bit. As far as biggest disappointment for me, it's simple. It's the complete and utter lack of multiplayer content. This is one of those polls that I did where I was really surprised. I did one yesterday, Ant did one today, that was essentially boiled down to, I wanted to determine, are multiplayer players more or less happy with Odyssey than single player players? And in that poll, mine showed that 30% play multiplayer and 70% play alone, is the way I worded it. Ant's was 20% play socially and 80% play alone. And honestly, that shocked me, right? Because to me, Elite is absolutely a social game. I rarely play Elite solo, if I'm grinding something maybe, right? So in that, I then was like, well, I guess that's why social players got such a kick in the teeth with it. Instancing is atrocious. It's so much worse than it used to be, right? There's no on-foot wing or team missions, and supposedly they're coming, they said on stream. Don't understand why they're not here already. And not only that, but you're actively penalized for doing things together. So many missions can't complete if there's another person there, or if they happen to do one piece of the mission, or they get the kill and you don't. And, silly things like that, down to, and I know Elite's always been this way with ships, but I feel like on foot is fundamentally different. I walk over and pick up a material, for engineering, all the little doodads, right? It's gone. You can't. Every other shooter game I've ever played, and maybe there's others that don't, but that I've ever played that had mats like that, everyone could pick it up. So the just complete, again, not only lack of things for social players to do, but actively punishing you for trying to do it, that's what kills me the most. It really, really, it's almost become a single player game for me. That's when I'm having fun, or we'll all play single player missions just chatting together, and that's a huge disappointment.
Well, all right then. Nothing else to add?
I mean, that's my main, right? No,
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of other things, right? But if I think of a very specific thing to me, without going on forever, right? That's my primary. Everything comes back to that, right? I've tried to have 6 or 7 of us get into a conflict zone together. The most we can instance is 3. Right? I mean, I can't get more than 3 ever, right? And anything that's socially based, anything like that, it's awful, right? It's so much worse in a lot of ways than Horizons was.
Wing, or as it's called, teams, and boy, did it take us forever to instance with each other. So anyways, yeah, right. Peroxin then, your biggest shortcoming for Odyssey?
Biggest shortcoming, it's mostly annoyances. Certain things that are in the release that should not have ever made it to the release. Like, my chat was just asking me, I was coming out of Plater's Tyranny, and I kept running into things that were invisible on my way out of the station. And that's because the game thinks that there's an asteroid belt in the way that doesn't actually exist. You can see the asteroids on the scanner, but not visually. And they're in a place that's 60 kilometers above where the asteroid belt actually is. That was in the alpha, and it somehow made it to the release of the game. That should never have been a thing. And just like certain things like that, and that's really the main detractors for me. It's just things like that. Like the gameplay itself, I don't really take issue with it. Like the AI, they're gonna gradually improve that over time. I can't really hold that against Frontier because they've never done a first-person shooter before, ever. This is their very first stab at something like that. Of course it's going to be janky and extremely weird. So I'm reserved, like, there are certain things like that I'm not going to hold against them at all just because they have zero experience at it. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. Is it goes back to quality of life that I talked about earlier. A lot of quality of life things, bug fixes and things like that. Do I run into major bugs? No, not really.
I gotta jump in with you here, Proxim, and agree totally. I've never understood. There are so many simple quality of life things over the years that could be added, right? Sorting of things. I mean, just all kinds of little shit like that, that it's just so hard to fathom that this far in, we've never, that just the most. I imagine if tomorrow was your first day at Frontier, the list of simple shit that you would have, right? That you would want them to change or add that would take next to zero time. And I could go through the list, but I don't think I have to because nobody gets it. I mean, nobody would argue that, right? And just quickly, one I got to throw in, I'm sorry, I'll let others talk about it, is the maps. The maps, right? The UI, right? That's the other that just, I use bookmarks and the galaxy map and plotting like that a lot. I just did the test again. In Horizons, I'm not in Horizons, I did this earlier, to plot directly to a carrier, to a bookmark to my carrier, which you cannot have in Beyond. You cannot bookmark a carrier you can't plot directly to it. But anyway, it's 5 inputs. So open the map, over, click. Right? That's what it takes to plot it. I just counted in Horizon or Odyssey 15 inputs. Because you have to go to the system and zoom into the system first and then find it and click it. There's no bookmark that will take you directly to a station or a carrier directly, right? That's the problem with maps, guys. So anyway, I've had this argument with a few people on Twitter who weren't understanding. When we say UI, I think it looks fine. I have no problem with the look of it.
I think we got the point, Exegius.
Yeah, sorry, next. It's the one thing.
Yeah, moderating, haha.
Perfect.
Anyways, carry on, bro. To finish your talk.
But yeah, I mean, just to kind of build on what he was saying, though, there really is a lot of things like that that should not really have made it to the release, or they should at least be telling us, okay, yes, we have heard specific feedback about this. We are working on, bringing some of the old functionality back. That I would feel a lot better about, some of these things if we knew precisely what was going on. Now, granted, there's supposed to be bugger feature, right? That would be nice to know. And then, there is, they are talking about releasing that roadmap here in a few days from now. To give us an idea of what to expect.
I hadn't heard that. Source of that, Proxim?
It was a post that David Braben put in the forums not that long ago, a couple of days ago.
Yes.
I don't remember it mentioning a roadmap, but okay.
There was a roadmap in there. I think he said June 4th, if memory is.
For the context.
What do they call roads in Britain?
The walking pavement thingamajig. Hey, Bobby.
Driveways or something, yeah.
For the context, essentially, developers, Frontier Developments essentially came out saying that they will be releasing, but during Braben's apology letter number 2, that they would be releasing a roadmap. He didn't say for what period of time, but we are assuming for the until the console release for the things they will be changing, and that will be coming on the 4th of June. carry on.
And by the way, guys, for us, I'm putting the exact quote, if you care about it, in the Discord chat about the roadmap. I just went and found the
Our
post.
plan is to publish a roadmap by the 4th June. So plan. Okay.
Roadmap to the
As we
stars.
continue to push forward addressing issues, including giving some details and specific improvements, building upon the fixes the dev team have already made. David Braben, ladies and gentlemen. Carry on, Proxim, if you have anything else. Okay, well,
no, that's really about it. Yeah.
Excellent. Your biggest drawback.
All right, so I guess like how do I frame this? I guess like to me the biggest drawback is not even in game. It's kind of the way that it was positioned and the expectations that kind of came with it. Like if I had to really think about this, it's like, well, considering what we're playing is a beta, which came out a couple weeks after the alpha, which itself was a very short and bizarre alpha in the sense that like, oh yeah, we've done all this development behind the scenes, but that's a separate branch, and we're letting you see like this earlier branch. The expectations were all over the place to the point where if this were called a beta and they just released it in the state saying, hey, it's going to be a beta, again, we know that there's stuff coming. Odyssey feels a little bit bare bones beyond the sort of foundational space legs and simple, activities that we can do. I think the biggest flaw, the biggest drawback was just how they went about marketing and releasing the actual product, right? I don't think the product itself is inherently bad. I think it's still raw. It's still going to be refined. And I think they did a much better job in not Odyssey. What's the one that came before it? Not Beyond. Horizons. I think they did a much better job at setting the expectation and saying, hey, we're going to release it at first. It's going to kind of be just there. And then as we go, we're going to have these big releases. And in between those, we'll have little releases. And that's kind of what we're seeing so far with Odyssey. We know there's first patches that are going to come out. I'm sure there'll be some Galnet article about some new ship that they're developing against the Thargoid threat. And 3 months from now, we'll probably have, when No Man's Sky first came out, it was received terribly, and they kept iterating and iterating. And to me, it's like, well, you kind of, number one, you guys are not new, right? Like, you've already done a lot of releases of different iterations of Elite, some paid expansions as well with Horizons. You've seen and learned from the lessons of, like, Star Citizen and No Man's Sky, or maybe you didn't, right? So to me, like,
I would argue that, but okay.
Well, I don't think they did learn much from them, or they kind of decided, well, we're going to go our own way, or maybe there was another need. Like maybe there were fiscal reasons they had to call it a release, right? But that didn't mean that they couldn't set the expectations differently, right? And I don't know if it was like, a conflict between different goals. I can't really speculate on the matter. All I can say is that, as a consumer, someone who bought it, look, I would have bought it no matter what, right? This is my favorite game, right? And I'm sure a lot of other people out there feel that same way.
Yep.
A lot of the things that I have issue with, they're like, they're nitpicks, right? Like in exploration, I didn't like that stupid scanner. They took it out. That's great. But I still don't like the fact that I have to scan 3 distinct biological samples, which just results in me running around the ground for 15 more minutes than I probably need to. A lot of those are maybe design flaws that, they would work out with beta feedback, which they're going to get a lot of. It's just unfortunate to see that, like, the reviews are tanking. They're at, like 30-something% on Steam because people are getting the wrong expectation. And this could have been avoided with the right communication. So to me, the biggest downfall is not... there's a lot to nitpick in the game, but the biggest overall problem is just, like, the release strategy and communication around it.
Can I ask you a question to that, Spatula?
Yes.
To clarify for me, because I'm not necessarily following a little bit, or I want to see what you mean exactly. When you say they, maybe they didn't, damn, you said it just a second ago, it was like, it basically something that it's getting negative reviews because of not setting it, something to that effect? Kind of clarify for me what you mean, if you don't mind.
As in, they went and said, hey, this is a full release, and people are reviewing
by
it.
calling it it release and selling it for $40. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yes. And so therefore people are reviewing it on the basis that it is a full release. This is the final game. Everyone has been playing for a while. I think most people understand this is not the end, right? This is just the beginning. But for most people,
you. Now let me ask a question. Do you think it is unfair to review it negatively right now?
Hell no.
For that reason?
I think they're getting what...
Okay, so you think it deserves... Okay,
yes.
okay.
Well,
that's what I wanted to clarify.
I'm saying that they reap what they sow, right? And by calling it a full release,
exactly.
They're getting all the articles from all the different reviewers saying, oh, this is, a pretty unspectacular release, right? Which is a lot of the stuff that was said about No Man's Sky. And in No Man's Sky, they also kind of pushed that out early, probably to satisfy some console guideline or shareholder obligation, blah, 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 and they kind of got the brunt of what they deserved. But No Man's Sky recovered, and people look at it very positively now. And I think given time, people's perceptions will change on Elite depending on what happens next, right? But because of that perception, I think it's going to hurt their initial sales. And look, I do kind of agree that, you know, they deserve it, right, for doing that.
Yeah, but you got to have some thoughts on that.
Boy, where?
I have a real quick thought. The game just crashed on me when I tried to jump from a planetary surface. Big
You know,
oof.
I've had a lot of crashes
crash
dropping.
to desktop or just simply server crash?
Crashed to desktop.
Ooh. All right then. Right, so where to start? Right, I did say that in my biggest, you know, the reason why I say no to Elite Dangerous essentially is that, well, basically this is a forced release by the upper management of the company. That is, well, basically what has happened. The game was not ready. Essentially, they pushed it out the door knowing it was not ready. Now, that is one thing already. So the thing is, first of all, that's a business decision that is just, frankly speaking, a disgusting move for, well, what I considered, you know, a piece of potential art, as I do consider games, you know, something that has a cultural,
a creative endeavor,
and so forth. Essentially, that sort of a, first of all, that fucked up or fucked over all the developers that worked hard on it, right? The only thing that it didn't fuck up is potentially the shareholders, or, you know, their desires, or whatever upper management, you know, had it, essentially. So right now, essentially, we have a shit release that runs really shitty, and unfortunately, you know, eventually, even like it or not, everyone's gonna just default to blaming coders, you know, the low-level coder or server guy or artist or, you know, whatever, for basically a decision that was made, you know, against potentially their will. And given enough time, they could have developed or delivered a proper quality, you know, content, even if, like, let's say someone like me wouldn't agree with the decisions made, and there are plenty of those. However, I still had, you know, a trust into coder segment of the game to make it playable in, you know, comparable performance, which was literally one of the questions in Q&As that they did before alpha. There was a question, will something like, I'm paraphrasing, will Odyssey run just as smoothly or with the same frame rate as Horizons? And developers said that, with the same settings you should be running the same frame rates, give or take, right?
Well, let me ask you a question about that, Yemix. Do you, okay, because I saw your video or comment about basically, you know, 30 frames per second low is whatever your title was, right? So my question
was
is,
recommended specs equals 30 frames a second. Yes.
Right. So what I didn't necessarily feel like was fair about that is that I feel like we can't evaluate it yet, because I feel like it is so buggy right now that I felt like that was a little bit premature to say that, you know, they are saying this is acceptable, because I unless I've missed something, I don't think Frontier's saying the performance everybody's getting right now is acceptable. If they are, yeah, it's absolute horseshit, right? Because it's awful right now. But I don't feel like that's
ever said that they thought that it was acceptable. But
okay. So then maybe I misunderstood something, right? Then that's fair, all right?
Right.
Because
so
I feel like
what Nexidius is saying here, right? Essentially, I have an RX 580 8GB version graphics card in my VR rig, and that is the same graphics card which is recommended spec quality for the game, as they set out for the recommended specs.
That's not low, that's recommended, just to clarify.
That is a recommended, yes.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
I tested, you know, and you know, basically showcased that it is running subpar, and yeah, it's inexcusable, frankly speaking.
Oh,
now,
I mean, agreed.
Right? Essentially, all the excuses that are given to, well, basically, people are giving way too much ground to a company that, first of all, is multi-million, not billion, I think, multi-million dollar company that pushed out a product that they clearly knew was not ready, just to meet potentially, of course, arguably, a fiscal year nonsense. While
certainly
they could
seems
have
that
easily
way.
delayed
Certainly
it.
seems that way.
That's the thing. It's a just fucking corporate decision, which is just disgusting. Now, there are other things as well that obviously because of this early release, we've noticed a lot, and Explorers are one of them. In fact, I've got a wonderful picture of one of their trailers sent to me, one of you. By one of you, I mean. So here's the planet from the trailer. Hold on, I'll just post to the rest of the guys. There you go. And that's the in-game current planet, right? And this is not the only instance where essentially the planets have been downgraded and so on and so forth. But the thing is, I still had trust that essentially the actual developers, if given enough time, they could have delivered, again, if not accepted by yours truly in an ideological sense, but at least the quality-wise, a product that would be worth that $40 mark. However, here's the thing, right? Generally speaking, right? Unlike Horizons, which was a season pass exploitative garbage, I can easily get into that later, but the point is it wasn't acceptable the way they delivered that one. This, on the other hand, is supposed to be, well, what I thought, in a way, a more honest, upfront delivery of product that was just everything, not counting obviously the story-related stuff and blah 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 that is obviously usually delivered, in piecemeal later down the line. Feature-wise, complete, and performance-wise, done. This was not. Now, then, of course, after we get past that biggest issue that is just quite literally lying to the consumers just to meet some fucking deadline on a goddamn corporation that can take a little bit of fucking loss in profits, if you will, right?
Well, let's actually let's say it a different way.
Just to fuck over devs themselves.
Well, and so I think maybe it's not fair for us to keep saying that they did it because of a timeline, because we don't know that, but it doesn't matter why they did it. They did it, right? It should not have been released in the state that it's in. It could have, to your point, is completely still valid. It absolutely could have been delayed. Right there, but why this timeline? And it does feel like that timeline was financial, but we are speculating there. We should be fair about that. So that's all I'm.
Yeah, that is 100% speculation.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and we shouldn't be stating it like it's fact, right? I just want to make that clear to everybody.
All right, fair.
So,
no,
yeah. Just I want to be fair with my criticism, right? But it also doesn't matter why they did. They did.
Okay.
They released
let's
it.
say okay, fair enough.
Right.
Let's say I am wrong on the whole fiscal year. They still released this.
Right, and I think you're right.
In a very poor state, which means that there's either incompetence or malice still. And let's say that if we take out the malice out of it, the Hanlon's razor, right? This was incompetence, and very big incompetence in that case. So then, did they really were incompetent enough to test their product and see the many issues before a release for again, I repeat, a fucking company that can afford both delaying and, actually testing properly the thing that they are releasing before release? It just doesn't strike quite true. Again, I don't think they're exactly that incompetent. So
that's why it feels like
going
it was
in circles. If it's not incompetence, it's malice. If it's not malice, it's incompetent.
Well, and no, I think the third could be it's incompetence in the upper management, assuming, because that's why.
Absolutely. The result is upper management is absolutely at the fault of this thing.
You said a comment that I think I've said a few times, that I actually feel bad for some of the rank and file developers there, who this isn't their fault, right? But potentially, we say the devs and things like that, right? So, I don't necessarily think though, the on the ground troops, whatever you want to call that. I'm not trying to be, dismissive of anybody by saying it that way, right? But the just the devs working on the code of the game, I don't feel like their fault, right? I feel like the fault is whoever above said this has got to be out on this date, and picked May 19th, right? What 2.5 weeks after a weird alpha. I am. You're right. So are you. So yeah.
That is the biggest fault. But well, will you allow me another little tidbit, this mini rant there? Okie dokie. Right. So let's say that this was a finished product, and we didn't see the performance and technical issues, and only to an acceptable level. Let's say this was done, right? Even then, you see constant, well, again, for those features that have been delivered, either downgrades or rather malicious development, frankly. And I'm referring specifically here to engineering and UI, generally speaking. Incompetence on the UI and malicious design on engineering. Because with engineering, they're literally taking old first engineering principles, very limited space in your pockets, if you will, for the materials, and even then on top screwing with extra necessity to go back to your ship after your suit is full, rather than when you had SRV you could collect that whole 1,000 limit, pocket, if you will. Then of course on top of it there's a massive requirement for upgrades, and of course there's on top of it, which is just even more stupid, while we have ability to remove upgrades from our ship modules and items, for space legs engineering we can't. So that's going an extra step, taking extra effort, or maybe just simply not putting it in, maybe, who knows. Just that thing that has been specifically implemented in, well, these upgraded features back in Horizons, and later down the line with the upgraded or changed, the engineering improved, and it feels like they are going backwards with that design, and thus I call it malicious. Obviously because of the fucking massive amount of time that is required to just grind it. I've never been a fan of it. Now, as for the UI, I mean, fucking Jesus, Exegius did talk about the UI quite a lot. And
that could
yeah,
be some topic.
For example, such a simple thing. A button that I suggested back in the day in one of my small little videos, quality of life, quality of life videos that I did, to put a minus sign, a removal button for bookmarks, right? When you have a button for bookmarks, to add it, instead of it, once you have added it, put in an active button that would remove that very same bookmark. That now is gone. You can go back in Horizons and test it and see what I'm talking about. That button is gone, and now you add a bookmark, and to remove the fucking thing, well, you need to go to the bookmarks first, find the fucking bookmark in the list of nonsense and clicks that you have to do, and then you can remove it. Of course, there's also the whole idea of outfitting UI that is questionable, and let alone we're not even getting to the space legs based UI. Radial bullshit that basically barely works with a mouse, as a matter of fact. There are two of them on top of it. So yeah, the UI has been, well, lack of better term, utterly butt-fucked. So yeah. That's,
well, and again, let's be clarified when we say UI. I think it looks good. I have no problem with the way it looks. It's the functionality that's the problem.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Just because it's new doesn't mean that it's better.
Can I completely change my biggest gripe with the game?
Well, sure.
It's bartenders won't sell you drinks in this place, and that really bothers me. That's my biggest gripe.
Okay, yeah, actually, I want to circle back to the planetary tech for just a brief moment. Because there's the shot that Yamix put up with what was advertised versus what people were seeing
on the Reddit. Yeah.
And then the screenshot that I posted just after that, and it's up on my stream, so the people that are watching mine can actually see it. Is actually something that
I'm gonna bring your stream up. Keep it on your stream. I'm gonna bring yours up.
Yeah, go for it.
Streams and streams.
So the shot on the right is actually something that Pro Rock found. He's in my stream chat right now. Earlier today. So some of the things that were advertised, like the new ice tech, which by the way looks really good. You can see it in that shot.
I agree. The sparkling is kind of cool in it. Yeah.
So some of these planets that they have in the advertising, I honestly don't think they're that common, and that's why we haven't seen them. Because people were saying that the new ice tech, like all over the Discord, my Discord anyway, people were like, the new ice tech didn't make it in, wah. It did. We're staring at it.
That's why.
Well, Exegius,
Yeah,
you know
we're staring at it right now. I just don't think it's anywhere near as common as most as people would like it to be.
I've also
I
heard-
think that's one of the problems we're running into is that these exceptional examples of good-looking planets are probably more rare than Frontier has let on, and I think that's probably causing something of an issue as well.
Well, I also heard the good frame rates are at Hutton Orbital.
No, the free anacondas.
There's an element of false advertisement too. You realize, because again, the image, the comparison images of the same planet, and it's just not the same. It's
Yeah.
So there is a level of that, and frankly speaking, I didn't think that they would be stooping so low. But again, considering that, arguably they pushed it out the door for whatever reason, it makes kind of
for
sense.
me-
They just simply didn't have the time to finish it.
The thing that's been interesting about the new planets for me, to talk about that, and then I think we were saying maybe we'll do closing thoughts. And so I think for me the weird thing has been, I absolutely see the evidence. Like, if you guys haven't seen Black Maze's video on comparing the
there is a
horizons,
wonderful one.
to Odyssey Planetary Tech, it's phenomenal, right? I mean, it's very detailed. And what it seems like it's coming down to is, if you're an explorer going out looking for really interesting stuff, it's just not there. The weird experience that I've had is, I've found some absolutely, or been to, not found, missions have sent me there, some stunning locations. I mean, a couple really deep canyons. Last night we found this. When I say deep canyons, like we're talking a kilometer, 2 kilometer deep, not the 20-kilometer deep, like Testicle Moon, and the really awesome canyons, right? But still,
What moon?
Pomesh 2C. There's a moon. Yamix knows it. I'll give you the address later. It's like about 700 light years out. It's unbelievably. Yeah, please do, Yamix. It is incredible. It is my all-time favorite place in the entire game. It is literally covered in nothing but 20-kilometer deep. Think about it, that's 12 miles deep ribbon canyon. So from orbit, it looks like a big wrinkly testicle. That's why I call it Testicle Moon. Okay. And so anyway, so there's nothing like that or Pomesh 2C, but I found a base the other day that was on an ice planet, nestled in this little valley with these huge peaks that were probably 8,000 perspective-wise, 10,000 feet above where I was standing. I mean, it was gorgeous. So it's been weird for me that, again, there's all these problems, and maybe I'll just make this my wrap up. There's all these problems, but I keep enjoying it. I keep coming back and wanting to play it, right? I keep having fun with it. And so that's why I'm so kind of mixed about this, right? As I said, $40, calling it release software, it's got to be a negative review. For a non-elite player, actually, there's one quick thing I want to say, price that I forgot. For a non-elite player, if you are coming to the game right now, the whole game, including Odyssey, is like $45 on Steam. Well, yeah, if I think of a brand new player and I think of Odyssey as a little $10 add-on, which depending on how you think the price of that, right? Maybe it is. The whole package for $45 is pretty fucking compelling. I think it's actually phenomenal, the amount of stuff that's there for that, right? But if you've gone along the way, just this for $40 is hard if you're not an elite player. If you are an elite player, yeah, it's going to be a yes. Just quickly, what were my notes? Make sure there's nothing else I forgot.
You did notes?
Closing?
Yeah, that's my big stuff. I was taking notes, like as you guys were making points, right? I was just writing out the points you made, make sure I got, got the stuff. But yeah, so I think if you love Elite, you're playing it now, and you haven't bought Odyssey, you're probably going to maybe give it a week or two till the bugs are fixed before you jump in and have a frustrating experience. But I think you're going to wind up with it pretty soon if you haven't. If you're brand new to Elite, well, if you're brand new to Elite and you're paying the $45, sure. If you're very new and it's a $45 upgrade, probably not.
But it's so
that's
pretty.
your closing.
That's my closing. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well,
and after stream, I'm going to jump over to my Discord. If you guys want to chat, I'd love to hear what you guys think. If folks want to jump over to my Discord, links and everything are in my
promo
my
there,
chats.
buddy.
Hey,
Yes,
man, you told me to do it pre-stream. You told me to do it pre-stream.
No, jump into my
during
thing.
it, mate. But anyways, carrying on then.
Sure.
Let's see. I mean, you kind of skipped me on the finishing list that you.
Yeah, so
put
go
up
ahead.
there.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, fuck it, I'll go last as always. So let's end a very cheerful note with Yamix. So next then is.
You must be composing a symphony of swear words.
Oh yeah.
Spat, you want to go next?
Sure. I guess, well, I don't know, closing it off, I think we covered a lot of bases. You know, I'm glad we didn't really nitpick on most of the specific things that are kind of the most off-putting. And I think that's a good thing because, look, at this point, you know, I'm bulking it up to it was released with poor expectations set around it, which is where most of the problems are coming from. They're perspective problems that will probably be ironed out, and 2 or 3 months from now, we'll look back and laugh at, you know, and compare Odyssey to, say, Beyond and go, well, you know, Odyssey was definitely a step above Beyond, which was sort of this barren, free content, make good for... you know, the things that they missed from Horizon that are still not in the game. But to me, it always boils down to this, is that Odyssey is that testament of the developer saying, look, even if we have to put it out in a state that's maybe not optimal, we still have worked towards the ultimate promise that we made in the beginning, right? We didn't know we would have Space Legs a year ago. Now we do. And I think that in and of itself is a huge, huge deal. And everything else just becomes... you know, sort of noise in the wash, right? And there will be a point where a year from now we look back and go, you know, wow, this game progressed and escalated very quickly. Do I have issues with it? Yeah, I don't like the bartender thing. I don't like the new material grind all that much. I'm a little bit picky about how I like this new exploration. I think everything just doesn't pay enough, like the missions in exploration, AstraZeneca or whatever the heck buys the genomes. Or sorry, is that a COVID vaccine company? I don't know. I get the two realities confused. But the point is, our universe just got a lot bigger, and there's a long list I could nitpick and a long list of things that I could say that I enjoy or see the huge potential in. Settlements, I'd like to see more variety. I don't understand why that wasn't a little bit more procedural. Like, it does feel, even after a couple weeks, is like, oh, I've seen this settlement before on a different planet, right? Like, but hey, as far as I'm concerned, we're playing a beta, and that could be in the plan. And they go, oh yeah, we're gonna add 52 new settlement types every week for a year. That could be in the roadmap or whatever they're gonna release, or maybe what they're gonna release is gonna be very big broad strokes, and we'll be left in mystery as usual to speculate. But, you know, I think overall, like, it's brought me back into it. I'm playing the game. I don't feel like I'm at that point where I'm, like, having to motivate myself to play. Like, I'm actually finding myself, like, going into, like, film footage for an episode, and then I find myself getting distracted because I want to do this mission or explore this settlement, or, you know, let's see what this guy looks like when he's got a plasma bolt up the side of his head. You know, and so that kind of, to me, has been like just this reinvigoration of this universe and this game, and diving in that next level deeper. And I'm very grateful that they put out Odyssey. I, you know, think that over time the sentiment will change. But I don't blame the people that are criticizing it, right? If I bought the game and got a poor frame rate experience and really couldn't play the game at all, I'd be pretty disappointed. On day one when it loaded up and, like, I was getting server after server error, it was very frustrating, right? I didn't want to deal with that. But after a couple hotfixes, you know, I might get one crash in like a 2 or 3 hour session, and to me that's fine, right? This isn't a game where you lose all your progress on a crash, except in, you know, I guess certain scenarios. But, you know, there's nothing that's been devastating. It's not like my save got cleared. But yeah, so, like, overall, I think we just need to all be patient as players. You know, don't go ham on Frontier. Don't yell at their people. Just give them time to set it right, and I think we'll probably be okay in the end. But, you know, if you don't like a certain type of, like, to me, like, the exploration and plant life, it does not pay well enough for me to even bother doing it, other than for purposes of ranking. Maybe they'll change that down the line. But hey, instead, I'm going to do, like, the stealth missions or the reactor settlement missions and find other areas of the game that I do enjoy. And I think, like, if you think about it, well, there's a lot to do in this game now. They may be disappointed that, oh, there's only 10 mission types on foot now. Well, there's those, and then all the ship missions, and then, you know, there's the SRV type missions as well. There's a lot of different things that you can do, or just go visit Guardian sites, or just go do this. So, you know, do what you love in the game. Have patience, and I think it'll be okay in the end. That's my rant. And also subscribe and like to everyone's streams, people.
Well, that'll be the last thing, of course. So Peroxide, then, your thoughts on the close? Well, rather your closing thoughts. Come on. Tell us.
My closing thoughts. I think Odyssey has a lot of potential. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of really great things about it, but it's kind of marred and buried underneath a lot of the quality of life and just certain little things that are really just driving me personally crazy. You know, I can't speak to everyone on this, but I have a really good example up on my stream right now. Earlier, when I was coming out of Plater's Tyranny, I was running into invisible asteroids. Well, it's a bug right now where you can actually see some of these asteroids are actually visible on my screen right now, and it's completely off axis from the actual asteroid belt. You know, things like that for me just drive me as so bonkers.
So hold on a second. Are those asteroids that are supposed to be down in the ring, or those
Yes,
like a that's not like an asteroid belt? You know what I'm saying? That's separate from the rings. That's supposed to. That's just rendered up
exactly.
in space instead. Okay.
Yeah, they're rendered. Yeah, they're rendered up in space, and then like if I move around a bit, they actually disappear like that. So like I just moved my nose a few degrees and they disappeared.
Oh,
then I moved back over and they
reappear. Delay in your stream.
Yeah. So there's things like that.
What system is Plater's Tyranny in?
Hilla. Hilla.
Oh, okay. There's Plater something in my home system of Mittenhaus, and I didn't think it was after him, but yeah. Sorry.
Plater's Reach, maybe.
Maybe it was
I think that is it. It could be. It could be.
Well, if it's Plater's Reach, that actually is his station. If it's Plater's Reach,
that's his new. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because there's Plater's Tyranny, which is fully voiced by Plater. Yeah, and then there's Plater's Reach.
Oh, that's thoughts, guys. Come on.
Sorry,
moderating. Yay.
Yes.
Carry on.
But yeah, it's just the certain things like this that drive me personally so crazy that it really takes away from the rest of it. Again, that's just me. Certain things like this just drive me abnormally nuts. So some people may not find this as annoying as I do, but otherwise, Odyssey itself, like, there's a lot of potential and there's a lot of fun to be had here, and I'm pleased with what I see. It's just marred by some of the things that drive me personally absolutely nuts. That's my thoughts on it.
Okie dokie. So that's it.
You know what? Why don't we end? Can I ask? Let's end on a little bit more of an up note. Can we just very quickly, everybody, talk about maybe one surprise, one other good thing they didn't mention? I don't know, something like
Thanks,
that.
Thanks, XCGS. You skipped me, you prick.
Oh, I thought you said. I thought you already went. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Let the stream show that you first of all took my place. Okay.
Go ahead. No. I didn't.
He's trying to replace you.
I was trying to shorten my own conversation, right? Because I got into something. I thought, well, I'll just close out rather than finish this.
Sure.
No, I was trying to be
just
better.
Not give you a mix any time.
Share your fucking opinion. Share your fucking opinion.
All right. So my bottom line of basically Odyssey in general is that from a consumer's perspective, it doesn't matter if you are Elite Dangerous fan, player, whatnot else, or complete outsider. The fact of the matter is, Odyssey as a product is completely unacceptable the way it was released. And for the next 6 months, give or take, until the console release, we're going to be seeing slow improvement in or rather, basically the development that should have happened before a release, and it's basically company nonsense that has happened here. And honestly, I would not support it. Again, as I said in my review at the end, maybe this would justify a purchase on a discount after those 6 months, but not now. Certainly not. From any kind of perspective, I find the content, especially the malicious grind that is basically the main gameplay that you're going to be doing most of the time, completely just company MO and being worse than it was before. Now there's of course additional things that are just downgrade, frankly speaking. And for the next 6 months, honestly speaking, go pick up Elite Dangerous, the base game, play Horizon, the Horizons version of it, and enjoy your time while it lasts with a good UI and good planets. And after that, I can't guarantee anything. So, yeah, that sucks. But but generally speaking, I can't, in any good conscience, support this kind of a company bullshit and attitude. Of course, also misrepresentation of the product itself. Of course, the mishandling of it, and just disgusting attitude overall. And that all is solely put blame on the upper management of the company. So yeah, and of course all the reviews are deserved and so on and so forth. So yeah, there you go. That's my review. Of course, if you're enjoying it, that's on you. If you're hating it, that's on you as well, right?
That's on you.
What else? Hey, whatever. You like what you like. You dislike.
If you're enjoying it, it's your damn fault.
Essentially, yeah. But yeah, basically the release was trash, and it was just downright unacceptable from a product release perspective. And then when it comes to features themselves, half of them feel like a downgrade, and the other half basically feels like just part malicious design and part incompetent design. And all that for graphical improvements, and not so sure about that.
But tell us how you really feel.
Penis.
That is perfectly acceptable as an answer.
There you go. No, it's also lazy, but you can dispute that because regardless. There you go then. Suppose in a short terms or what else, that'll be my last point. So for the official part, of course, everyone's going to be doing their own thing afterwards, or just simply stop. I'll probably, stick around for a little bit to just talk with my audience. CGS will be doing that to his. Proxim and Spatula, I don't know what you're going to do, but regardless, if you don't know who these guys are, essentially, the asshole who's talking right now, my name's Yemix. I'm a Latvian prick that basically dislikes everything. Well, these guys apparently like it. So that's me. You can find me on YouTube's. Then there's CGS, a great tutorial guy that make tutorial video things when he feels like it. Go check his stuff out on the YouTubes, sometimes also on Twitch. Proxim, nowadays on Twitch mostly, but he also made videos back in the day. Damn it, Proxim, you need to make more stuff.
Yeah, I'll get back to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
And Spatula, also somebody who's been part of the community for quite a bit of time. Give him some love indeed as well on the YouTubes, and yeah, he also needs to make more fucking videos. God damn it!
And remember, if you enjoyed this stream, it's your fault.
So, any other last things?
As far as Odyssey goes, no. I think I've covered pretty much, everything that I want to.
We stayed on the point then. In that case, well, that'll be it for this evening, at least on the official parts.
Last thing I'll say is just a quick thank you to Yamix for pulling this together. He was the one that spearheaded us, invited everybody, and kind of got us together today.
This might be the last creator roundtable ever. We can't organize ourselves at all.
We'll see.
Including
like
myself.
Stray cats. But you do a good job, Dangus. Exactly. You're very on the point and organized, and he's just totally right. This totally came together because of you, sir. Good on you.
No, you're just pulling my leg. I'm just the biggest piece of shit here on ever, and all I do is just upset people.
That's not true.
That's my sole purpose here.
Yeah, you know what? It's good that I think the interesting part about this stream is you all have like very different opinions, right? Like I may be more happy with the game. Yamix, you may be more critical, but together we're able to talk about the game, and there's something to talk about, right? That's great in and of itself. So
yeah, well, being able to have a civil conversation certainly is important. So
no, absolutely.
So, yeah. So again, thank you very much, Yamix. Very cool of you to pull us together.
Well, all right then. I'll see you then post-show, folks. Thanks for coming. Go check out their channels. At least on my end, there are links in the description. I don't know about the rest of the guys. I think CGS also has those links, so there you go. Yeah, indeed. Hit those subscribe or follow buttons, Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There you go.
Take care, everybody.
Let's do the things.
Take care.
Later.
Take care, guys.
Bye. So yeah, I might continue to stream just for a little bit. I thought this would go to 5.
Yeah, see, I'm going to keep my stream going for at least another hour or so. So if you feel like hanging around, you're welcome to.
Yeah, let's hang out and chat, Oxy.
Hell yeah.
I'm only going to be on for another half hour or so, but
yeah, I might go for another hour or two. Is what I'm thinking.
yeah, go on.
Let's see. I'm gonna look through my chat here real quick. But no, okay. So Arya was asking if the asteroid problem that I'm staring at right now gets fixed if I relog. The answer is no.
So are they
this has
permanent
persisted
invisible?
through. Well, in some cases they show up, visibly, but like if you move around a bit, they disappear. It is the
Okay.
strangest thing. So
I
like
have
on
seen
my stream right
invisible
now, I'm kind of
rocks on the planet.
yeah. See,
surfaces.
I'm kind of moving my nose around right now, and they pop in and out depending on where you're looking. It's the strangest thing. But no, it's persisted through multiple patches, and it was even there in the alpha. So I don't know what's going on, but something's borked. Yeah, that's because he has something like that. He says out of phase space rocks. It's like Star Trek has blended in with Elite.
They're space rocks from the mirror universe. So instead of avoiding them, you have to go directly at them, try to hit them, and then they'll disappear.
That's how Kira
mirror
Kenshi
stuff
says Plater's testing stealth tech.
I did see some video, I can't remember who did it, on YouTube today, and it was like Federal Stealth Tech. And it just turned out to be combat logging, but it did make me laugh. Because the combat logging does kind of look like the ship has a cloaking device, right?
Occasionally, yes.
Oh, God.
Alright, let's see if I can get out of here without...
As we were talking about just how annoying the looting is, I'll say, like, the actual mechanic of looting is quite satisfying. I do really like just going around and picking stuff up. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's the audio. I think it's like the little tick, tick, tick as you pick stuff up, but it's so satisfying to touch things. And
I don't mind picking stuff up. I just don't like having to run around the entire base like a chicken with my head cut off to get stuff to engineer. Raiding an entire base and not having enough stuff to upgrade one thing, that feels really strange.
where's this door?
Like,
go?
I don't know.
goes to
That's one of the
space.
things that drives me crazy. But
I found a space door in the middle of a land-based facility. The door, the sides of the door are glitching out, and you can see outer space.
oh, I was about to say, what the hell's a space door?
In the cracks between the door, it goes to another dimension. This is a TARDIS. Let me in. Oh man.
Amazing.
Yeah, but you were you playing Elite? Because I know like I've been seeing you play a lot of like DCS and games like that. Like, has Odyssey brought you back to Elite? You feel like
Yeah, it
it's
has.
go time?
Like, I hadn't started Elite since like October or November, and not until the Odyssey Alpha.
Mhm.
I spent probably 30 or 40 hours dicking around in the Odyssey Alpha, and now that the release is here, I've actually been on Elite a few times in the last couple of weeks, and that hasn't happened for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that's saying something, because Elite, like, it had kind of lost its luster for me. There wasn't anything that I hadn't done, to some degree or another, and like even my no canopy runs to Beagle Point, I have that down to such a science that I can do it with any ship that I want to if I really put my mind to it.
Whenever I think about you doing that, and it's like, oh yeah, he did that in like a Mamba. And it's like, no, he's done it in like multiple times in multiple ships. You sir
Mamba, Chieftain, Anaconda.
You are beyond.
The Anaconda was the first one. I might just be a little insane.
Possibly.
My typical motto usually goes something like, bad ideas make for good content.
Oh no, I absolutely agree. Like I would prefer to see someone do something absolutely ridiculous than to do something very skilled.
Yeah,
Like, try to do something that's
me.
never been done before, or that's nigh impossible. Make that possible. But
Yeah.
I don't want to see you just showing off and flapping your flight skills. I get it. You're a better pilot than me.
Like, I get it. Your E-peen is bigger.
I'm finding these G-meds here.
the whole like I used to so anyone that's paid attention to me for a long time will know that I used to do a lot of PvP back in like late 2016 and the first half of 2017. But I've kind of stopped because that like keeping up with that kind of stuff and meta shifts and everything else, it gets old after a while. And you just kind of want to do dumb things for the hell of it.
Honestly,
so
like,
that's where my Beagle Point runs came from.
Like I'm not opposed to combat and that kind of gameplay and stuff, but I do find in Elite, it's like whenever you are okay. So if you arrange combat and it's like, okay, let's go fight each other, let's establish rules, boundaries, equipment limits. Like no one can do this or no engineering, that kind of stuff. Like let's have a fight in E-rated Sidewinders, that kind of stuff. It's all great, right? But whenever you're just like going along and you have an emergent encounter with someone interdicting you and you decide, let me fight them. It's like, oh no, this guy has literally done the like thing where you sit there and then relog till you have all the materials, then you engineer your ship to the absolute nines. And unless I'm willing to do those same sort of exploitative methods, I want to call them, like I'm always at a loss when it comes to combat. Like it's never a fair playing field because I don't have any ship that's like fully engineered. I don't do any of that like sort of like relog at Dav's Hope a million times and get this thing, and so that's where it just feels a little unbalanced for me.
Yeah, that is kind of a thing that that keeps me away from PvP and serious engineering. I just kind of do whatever I have the materials for now and upgrade things as I happen to get things naturally over time. Once was a time where I would spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours just beating some exploit to death, but those days are long gone.
To me, like that's the kind of stuff that makes me not want to play the damn game, right? That's where I get those burnout points is either on long journeys to like Colonia and back, where you just feel burnt out after doing them, like you don't even want to play the game at all, or if you've done a long grind. I remember at one point when that sort of like $100,000 Guardian mission was going, which I never completed, but did a significant chunk of before hearing that it was broken and there's no point. Those were the moments where like after that I just didn't want to play for months, and it took a lot to like even just motivate myself. Like if I wasn't doing the YouTube channel, I would have never looked back, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was with a lot of things. I had just done it all so much that it really didn't hold much appeal for me anymore. So I just quit playing. It's kind of where I was at for the longest time. Now, what is going on there? I'm getting a sudden GPU spike that shouldn't be, and I'm not sure why.
What have you done?
So I know you guys can't see it on the stream, but I have a little on-screen display up on the top left that's showing me GPU usage and things like that, so I'm keeping an eye on stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, to me, it's just like the numbers are kind of going to be meaningless for me. So it's always, to me, it's like, how does it just feel to play?
Yeah, and that's a valid way to look at it too. Like, as long as it feels good to you, for most people, that's perfectly fine. For me, I like to delve into the numbers a little bit more. I mean, anyone who knows me knows that I will delve into details to figure out what's going on. Like, that's how my no canopy runs to Beagle Point started.
Right.
And that was a lot of number crunching to get that to happen.
Did you? Yeah, I'm actually curious about that. Like, how did you prepare for those? Do you actually do math on like how many jumps can I make, or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, like do you have to put it on a piece of paper kind of thing, or put it in a calculator or a spreadsheet?
Some of it was actually just estimated. So what it is I had. I was able to estimate roughly how many jumps an hour I could make, and I can get a rough estimate usually of the average jump distance that I'm going to be making for an entire trip. So if I know the jump, the average jump distance and the average number of jumps I can make per hour, I can get a pretty close estimate to exactly how long it's going to take me to move a specific ship with a specific jump range to a specific point in space. And so I'll do the math for that, figure out, okay, so it takes me this long to get there, and then I have to figure out, how long does air last me? Well, an A-rated life support is like
25
Is
minutes?
it 25? Yeah, I
That's
think
an
it's
insanely
25
long
minutes.
time, actually. Like, that is really quite generous. Like,
Yeah. So then the way this works is, so the air timer lasts for 25 minutes. Well, I haven't tested this in Odyssey to see if they've changed it, but with Horizons, that countdown timer would stop while you're in a hyperspace jump. Okay, so it only moves while you're in normal space. Okay, so then you have to realize, okay, so I can do 50 jumps in an hour. Well, out of those 50 jumps, only a certain portion of those actually makes that timer move. So then you have to sit here and think, okay, so 25 minutes. That life support synthesis is probably going to last me close to an hour, rather than 25 minutes, because half of the time that you're doing anything is you're in witch space and the thing's not moving.
Well,
so
if you're like jump scoop
like
bonking, let's say it takes a minute 30 to complete a full jump. Maybe 30 seconds of that is actually the witch space time. So it's like it's only a minute of oxygen you're using per jump, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So so that 25 minutes becomes closer to 40 or 45 as opposed to 25.
Right.
So so you start thinking about things like that, and then you get a rough idea of how much synthesis you're going to need. Because, like I said, the first calculation is how long is it going to take me to get this thing there, and then the second calculation is how much synthesis do I need, to last that distance. And so you get those two numbers, and ta-da, you can make the trip.
When you were on those trips, did you ever at a point run out of materials and have to go like in an SRV and like material mining at some point?
Nope.
Okay.
And that doesn't work. If you're on life support, I don't think you can deploy the SRV.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
If memory serves. Yeah.
That's kind of harsh.
Yeah, that's if I'm remembering correctly, because I never once actually had to stop and get more materials, because yeah. Now, the very first time that I did that with the Anaconda, I actually overestimated, how much synthesis I would need to get there. I had enough to go all the way out to Beagle Point and all the way back to the bubble, and then I could have gone all the way out to Beagle Point again with the amount of synthesis that I had on me at the time.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of funny. So then,
do you remember when, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when they released materials initially on like the onset of Engineers, was there not like a 1,000 material cap like across the board, so that like if you wanted to collect like some iron, you'd throw out some sulfur to collect iron, kind of thing, before they had individual...
Yeah, that's how it used to be.
Yeah,
that's how it used to be. So that brings me back to the point that I made during the roundtable. Is that with engineering, it feels like we've taken a step back to 2017.
Yeah.
Is like right now, like if we look over at my material storage, inventory, come over, like each material for the old stuff has its own limit, right? Well, we don't have that with the new stuff. The new stuff is all. You have a hard limit of 1,000, and that's between all the materials. So if you've got 900 of something, for whatever frickin' reason, you have that much of one particular thing, you can only have 100 total of all other things, period.
Well,
and
cool.
that's...
Sorry to interrupt, but did you know the Inter Astra, when you there's like a Cobra, a holographic Cobra, or now it's an Anaconda, but it says like load new ship commander, yes, no. Isn't that a homage to the original Elite?
Yes, it is.
That's super cool.
Take your time.
Yeah, I noticed that a while back. It's pretty awesome.
Let's see, here is the future QWERTY. Oh, they still use a QWERTY keyboard. That's refreshing to think about.
Oh yeah, if you look on the left side of the ship, like maybe head look. Well, some of the ships have it. I think the Cobra does, or either that or else maybe it's just too dark to see. But sometimes there's like a keyboard that's over here on the by the left hand.
Oh, you mean like on a ship?
Yeah, it's on
Yeah,
a ship,
yeah.
and it's actually the keyboard from like a really old console. It has like a QWERTY style layout to it, but it's a little bit different.
The shape of it, it's like an Amiga or something.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's an interesting little tidbit.
I like this guy's
Okay,
face.
so Alien Hunter says it's DeLacy and some Lakon chips that have that.
Ooh, DeLacy. It's not delivery, it's DeLacy. It is. I am seeing space pizza boxes on the floor of terminals, and that's where.
Yeah.
At some point,
I've seen those. And
at some point, in the round table, it's one of those things where you don't want to reach out and interrupt. But at one point during the grievances, the festive airing of grievances, I wanted to complain. Just like, if you're gonna blame anyone, don't blame the devs, don't blame the executive, blame the damn janitors that aren't cleaning up the loading bays because they live in pizza boxes and cans all over the floor.
Yeah, there's that. I've seen like McDonald's cardboard clamshell.
Yeah.
For that they put sandwiches in. I've seen a couple of those.
Braven Burger.
Yeah. Oh, Budman says it's the ZX Spectrum is what that keyboard is from.
See, Logic Block says on mine that it might be the BBC Micros, which is what the original Elite was for. But the ZX Spectrum was also had an Elite release, so it could be either or. Now
Yeah.
let's both people in both chats go find this out. Let us know the truth. Maybe it's both. I don't know. To be honest, I never really played. I saw when I went to LaveCon. I was going to say last year, but last year was kind of a write-off, I guess. The year before that, they had like BBC Micros and stuff like that playing Elite. I didn't get a chance to actually play it for much time. But I did notice how, I actually really like the old school keyboards. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I want one of those. it just needs USB instead of this like giant 16-pin adapter.
Yeah, I know, right? Some of those old keyboards are really nice. Like, I don't know what it is, but like just the bog standard like mid-90s PC keyboard. Those things were so good. I don't know why. But to get anywhere close to those, you have to buy like a $180 keyboard now.
It's got a good feel for the hands. It's like putting your hands on a stone and just feeling that nice coolness. Okay, so here's my question, Oxy. Do I waste my power regulator and all these aerogels and all these suit mechanics, schematics, to upgrade my exploration suit to level 2? Or do I just go try and find a level 2 at some random outpost?
That's a tough call. Because the finding stuff just kind of laying around at the outpost and it's all RNG.
And I feel like that would be frustrating. But I do want better jetpacks.
It kind of is. Personally, I would just upgrade the thing and be done with it because you never really know.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. Let's see what that feels like.
An upgrade to give you the edge.
Nothing like an upgrade to give you
says
the edge.
That Vimes, one of the guys in my chat is saying that the level 2 Artemis suits are fairly common, though, so you shouldn't have too much trouble finding one.
Well, should have told me that 5 seconds ago, because we got ourselves an upgraded suit.
Well, you've got it now, so it feels good. You will occasionally find some grade 3 stuff around, too, but that's a little bit harder.
Grade 3?
I think I have a grade 3 shotgun. If I remember right.
Ooh, really? Yeah, see, that's the thing. Yeah. It's just I don't know, man. That kind of drives me nuts that you can just randomly find them like that. To me, it's either make them insanely expensive, but okay, here would be something I'm going to throw at you, Oxy. This is a big meta shift. This is something I've been thinking about for a long time. Why do we have originally when I started playing the game, I'm like, it's kind of cute that you go to some backwater system, and they barely have anything other than a level 2 fuel scoop, right? But at this point in the game, do you still feel that is a good mechanic, or should this is how I think it should work, in my opinion, is that every station is a Shinrada Desra. Okay, wait for it. Every station has everything, but things cost way the hell more if they're not where there should be, right? So imagine you go to a station right now, it only has shield cells. If you go there in Spatula's version, you would go there, it has everything. The shield cells are sold at a very reasonable price, but everything else is just super expensive because they're getting it shipped in from Shinrada. Do you think that's crazy talk?
Crazy talk? No. It seems like I've always actually kind of wondered like what the logistics would look like, because a lot of these places you would think they would have more than they do, or at least to be able to, quote unquote special order things, which that would imply increased cost.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of the system. There is one other system in the game that has all modules, but it's a 10% markup. What the hell is the name of it?
10% markup. Oh, is it instead of Shinrada, that one's the other one, Bresla?
Yes.
Bresla?
Yeah, Bresla.
Good old Bresla.
Yeah, that's where DJ Truthsayer, if you remember him. Yeah, Isola Prospect, exactly. Yep. That's where his player group was based out of Bresla.
Yeah, there's like 2 places in the game, and that's the only one that's not permit locked. Because Shinrada, you have to be elite to get in. Although now you can be elite in anything, including the new land-based stuffs. Although I'm kind of like even just like into the second ranking of exobiologist, like I scanned like 6 different forms of genetic samples, and then it went up by like 25%, and I'm like, oh my god, it already feels like a haul, and we're not even like close to elite, right?
Yeah, that makes me think of like the combat ranking.
Yeah.
For the on foot stuff, I'm still defenseless, but I have literally murdered, like I want to say like upwards of like 60 or 70 people, and I'm not even past the first rank yet.
You murderer.
Like
those people had children and hollow families.
Well, not anymore. They're gone.
Oh my god.
But,
hold on. Wait, someone... Is that an NPC in the chat, or was that a real person? Hold on. Oh, no. It was Director Thalian Soularstorm. He says, damn it, still no beer at the bars. Seems the only place to get wasted is a planetary surface. Especially the high G1s tend to lick in. I don't reply back. It's like, I always catch these in-game chat messages so far after the fact. Like, people have already logged off by the time I notice it, because I was in some random screen or something.
Guero's asking what rank changes if we nuke people from a ship. I don't actually know. I haven't tried that.
That is a good question. Like, will you increase your combat rank for your ship rank, or will you increase your mercenary rank? Because, like, is it...
Yeah,
is it about what you kill people with, or is it about who you kill? Because if it's about who you kill, then your mercenary account... As long as you kill a little bitty NPC, little leggy person, that would increase mercenary. But if it's what you kill with, then you'd have to be shooting with your gun.
Yeah. Is this a busted up SRV? It kind of looks like it. Its wheels are all mad.
Yeah, Andre, I giveaways. I think you're. You think this is Frontier? Frontier's giving me anything to give away. I will give you away a very nice compliment. You were a nice person. There, you've been given away. I've never done a giveaway. I know a lot of streamers do these giveaways, but I'm not big enough to do that.
Yeah, I've done giveaways before, but it's been a while.
What did you give away?
A long while. Let's see. I've given away a couple of paint jobs, a ship kit or two.
Nice.
Stuff like that. Nothing like horribly big or anything like that.
Not love. Giving away love.
No. And one of the funniest things that I have ever given away, though, was well, it wasn't really like a giveaway you could enter. Is way back in the day, it was, I think, during one of the first creators roundtables. Yamix was complaining about the Type 10 and the ship kit for it.
He doesn't do that.
Yeah.
That's so uncharacteristic.
Well, he was he was doing the whole we got spoilers for. I heard you like spoilers, so we got you spoilers for your spoilers.
Oh,
all right, so you know what I did? I bought the Type 10 ship kit and sent it to him.
Nice.
So he had no choice but to buy a Type 10 and put it on.
That is like the evilest thing you can do, right? Is just like buy someone a gift that you know they're gonna hate, right?
It was so funny.
It's like they can't get mad at you because you did something nice.
Yep. I did not feel bad about that at all.
I'll tell you though, the ship kits in the game though are unnatural. I feel like the ship kits and like the suit packs and the way they do the cosmetics, like I really didn't like why can't I buy like a blue suit? I have to buy a pack that has like blue, red, and yellow. Or it's like, oh, you want green and blue? Well, then you have to buy 2 separate packs because the green one is in the other pack with pink and salmon or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, the ship kits themselves, like, you know, one single ship kit is, like, what, 12,000 arcs or something? Which translates to...
Some of them.
I don't even know what it translates to.
Oh, yeah, I don't know either. I haven't figured out the USD to arcs transit. Yeah, I haven't figured that out because I never buy arcs. As a matter of fact, I haven't bought anything since they moved over to the arcs thing.
I have to admit, I bought some arcs recently, and oh no, hold on. Did not set my power priorities. God darn it! This we did a video with like Yamix, and it was like rules of Elite, and the number 1 rule that I put in was set your power priorities, and here I am.
And you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Tisk, sir.
So let me see here. Gang of Osiris. Alright, how do I get your orders? Oh my god, I don't like the new UI. It's so confusing. And I'm like, it's too soon for me to know. Do I not like the new UI because, here. Do I not like it because, like, I'm just not used to it yet? Or do I not like it because it's unintuitive? And I think it's a little column A, a little column B. Get back here, you pirate!
It's a little bit of both for me. I mean, the unintuitive things are legitimately like very unintuitive, though. So
yeah, like
it's a legitimate complaint.
To pay a fine, it's like 16 different clicks and like 14 different sub menus, and it just feels very, very clunky.
It does. It does.
How do I make the fighter then redock with me? Oh my god, this is like.
If I scruffy nerf odor paint skin.
Giant button marked recall. That makes sense. Right, we're heading to
Guero wants a fleet carrier. Guero Marinero says he wants a skin for the fleet carriers that makes it look like a ghetto shitbox.
And then Tokoso's in my chat saying the fleet carrier skins are strangely expensive as well, which I'm not surprised by it considering how expensive fleet carriers are in the first place. Things are $5 billion, and yeah, they're going to cost a little bit to pretty them up. Definitely, like, you know, it's just one of those things where, like, they always release things, like, way too expensive or way too grindy, and at some point or another they lower it, but they don't lower it enough, and it makes me think, like, that they do it psychologically, right? Like, oh, let's release fleet carriers with this outrageous cost, and then we'll lower it, and then people will be happy, but, like, the people who really, the cost, what the cost should be is, like, still far below what they ended up with.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, well, let me put it this way. I got more hours in this game than any other game that I've ever played. So, you know, minus Mind Games.
Yeah. I think Elite still holds the crown for me for the game that I spent the most time in, but I think DCS is getting awfully close.
Yeah. I think the next closest ones that I have after Elite is like I think it's a toss-up probably between, you know, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, XCOM 2, and Civilization 6 or something. Or I think 5. No, 6, yeah.
I have Civ 5, but not 6.
But, like, you know, Civilization 6, I feel like there were a lot of evenings where I just left the game on and went to sleep because those games take, like, one game will literally take 2 or 3 days to finish.
Jeez.
It's a long haul.
There it is.
I like this. Do you ever play the Civilization games or any like games like that?
I do have Civ 5, but not 6. Okay. I have played that with a few people before. Pretty much always get my rear handed to me though.
Oh yeah, that happens quite a bit. But I enjoy Civilization overall, and then Crusader Kings. I've only played 2, but I know 3 is out, and I really want to play that new Crusader Kings because it looks. There's just like hilarious things will happen in those games where, you know, your wife gets cancer, but then you find out she's plotting to kill you. So then you plot to kill your wife. You know what I mean? Like just the weirdest time.
Yeah. Then, do you watch a YouTube channel called The Spiffing Brit?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've like.
Okay.
Not a regular.
All right. So one of the funniest things I have ever seen done in Crusader Kings 2 is, he got some trait called insane or something like that, and using that trait, he was able to befriend a horse, and then the horse somehow became sentient. Through like a series of like things that he did and chose, and then he was using the horse and like sending off the horse on like ambassador missions and all kinds of other stuff, like, and it was an immortal horse too. It was, oh my god, it was the funniest thing ever.
It was a Glitterhoof is the Holy Roman Emperor. Was that what it was about?
Maybe
because I think I might have seen that particular one, because like there was a glitch where you could like if you had the madness trait, you could appoint a horse to like a bishopry. And then if you could get that horse married,
that's what it is.
It would have horse children, but they would be like courtiers. And then you could bring that courtier over, marry them, put them into your lineage, and then eventually become a horse king. Like an actual horse that is a person. And then eventually...
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then eventually become the Holy Roman Emperor yourself as a horse. Which is, like, I love games that have, like, you know, weird, deep mechanics like genetics that just, like, when misapplied in the right way... will allow you to become the horse emperor. I mean, what's not to like about that?
Stuff like that. It was one of the funniest things I have ever seen, and
yeah. I think that's how I found that channel.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. Oh, I should not have boosted there. That's fine.
Like, can you imagine, like, that would be like the thing in Elite, right? Is like if you get like a minor player faction big enough that it became power play, but like the leader was like an octopus that, you know, they would throw a coin in there and the octopus would play with it, and whatever coin, that's how they made their decisions as a unit. But then they became a major faction. You know, like, I would love to see something ridiculous happen of that nature. Oh, see you, Ray.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Now, one thing that I'm going to wrap in a couple minutes, but like one thing that really irks me about this early alpha, beta, or full release or whatever, is like if you go to visit like Bill Turner or Felicity Farsier, they're always in this little room that's next to, when you like disembark, it's just like your hangar and then you get the engineer in the room. But the new engineers, like Domino Green, actually has like a full facility and like an engineer lounge and all that stuff. And
yeah.
I'm like, why are you leaving the original engineers in the dust? Why didn't they all get this little, you know, sort of same treatment, right? And maybe they will. It's just a beta.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll expand on that in the future, and I really hope they do, because, you know, leaving the old engineers out to dry like that feels a little weird.
Well,
considering that they are still, you know, a huge part of the game.
I'm like particularly miffed about it just because Bill Turner is a character in my series, and I was going to like shoot with him, and at the old engineering facilities, like it won't even allow you to go into camera mode past the hangar. Like you can't get a close-up shot, but you can with the new engineers, right? Like I can go stand next to Domino Green and have this weird interactions. But I cannot do this with Bill Turner.
Yeah.
Huh.
Although Domino Green, she is a character.
I can fix your gear up something fierce.
Yeah. To say the least. Bugman says that Felicity's radio plays some interesting music. And Guero, it's odd seeing. Apparently, it's odd seeing me fly around with an actual canopy.
With a canopy.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably true. People are used to me not having one by now.
That's true. It is weird to see. It's like, hey, he's not got anything crazy going on.
Okay, so this is something that I'll probably talk about like once your stream is over with. There's some, you know, some personal things that are preventing this, but I actually have plans to at some point fly out to my hole and get first footfall on all the planets out there.
Oxy's hole.
Yeah. Yep, Oxy's hole. It's not its official name, naturally, but
Ooh.
I wish it was. God, that'd be so funny.
Quick question. What is your favorite weapon in Odyssey?
Tough call. It depends on the situation more than anything.
You can't bookmark.
You can't
bookmark blueprints from the new engineers either. That kind of sucks.
No, because there's no remote engineering. not for them.
But I'm just like, just so I'd have the material list, that'd be nice. But anyway.
Yeah, it would be.
But yeah, what would you say your favorite weapon is?
For close range, definitely the shotgun. Longer ranges, I'm not sure. Probably the plasma rifle, actually, for something a little bit longer range.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the shotgun, but I'll say my favorite weapon, surprisingly, is the TK Zenith, which is just a little laser pistol.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't like the burst fire on it. That's my biggest complaint.
It has
with
burst
that thing.
burst fire? I didn't even know that.
I think, well, yeah, like the laser pistol, it fires like 2 or 3 shots in a row. You know, dun dun dun, dun dun dun. It's like a burst laser in your hand.
Oh, okay. Like that's the default. Okay, that's not like a second weapon mode. I actually love it though. It takes down shields so quickly. It's super accurate, and it's just like a fun little pew pew gun. I don't know why, but I love it so much. It's one of my favorites.
I mean, it is nice for shields. That's true.
If I only had actual materials, I could upgrade it right now. But,
and then the plasma pistol does hit hard, but I'm not that big a fan of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Barry was saying that AX Flak is his favorite ground weapon.
Which one?
I haven't tried the flak guns that you use for against Thargoid swarms. You can use those against people on the ground.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Ooh. Okay, gotta try that.
Again with this error.
Also, do you know, has anyone found Sleepy Pete since the alpha? I know I've seen many different sleepers, but...
yeah, there's been a few different sleepers, but
have they said
nothing...
Pete himself?
I haven't seen Pete himself yet, no.
Alright, well, listen, I have definitely enjoyed chatting with you, Oxy, and the round table there was pretty fun. But I got to head out. I got a friend coming over, and we're going to actually go... I'm upgrading my monitor to a 27-inch today. So
nice.
It's very exciting. So I'm going to finally have like a... Because I upgraded my computer and all that stuff, but obviously the monitor's been the same, so it's like a 4K HDMI thing that has slots in the back for USBs, which is great. I will never turn down extra USBs. But we're going to install it. He hasn't seen my rig, and he's my like computer obsessed buddy, so I want to show him the whole system and show him how Star Citizen and Dangus look. Which
nice.
Like I can actually play Star Citizen now if there was something to play. It's a very pretty game, though. It's very pretty. It
is visually very pleasing.
All I managed to do is take a tram to some place and then get out on an ice planet and then die of oxygen deprivation as I tried to run to a bunch of buildings that I hoped would save me from the cold weather, but they did not. And I died.
Feels bad, man.
It's all right. It's all in a day's work, really. Uh-oh.
That's fair.
Guy in a medical suit's coughing near me. Probably got some sort of disease. Stay away from me.
Oh, I see an Asp Scout in front of me. It's tempting to shoot it.
Oh, please do. Please do. Asp Scouts have no business in the universe. But anyway, I'll see you later, Oxy. You have a good night.
Alright, see you, Spatula.
Alright, and that concludes the Elite Dangerous square table. Really, the Elite Dangerous Creators square table. Because there's only 4 of us. That's 4 corners, right? And then it became an Elite Dangerous line of me and Oxy in a line. But yeah, I'm going to call it quits there. Thank you guys for sticking through and commenting. And, obviously during these round tables, it's a lot harder to actually include the commentary in the stream. So apologies if I wasn't responding to a lot of the stuff in the chat. But I was reading it as we went. And then, yeah, obviously I will stream for next Saturday as well. Though we'll probably get back to doing some Dangus things, specifically... me blowing myself up in different ways and seeing how many different ways I can get rebuy in the game. So thanks for joining, guys. Have a good night and stay Dangus. This is Spatula, shining out. Good evening.